A profound silence fell across the National Diet building, then erupted into a wave of applause. The moment had finally arrived. On a crisp autumn day in October 2025, Japan shattered one of its most enduring political ceilings. Sanae Takaichi stood at the podium, her expression a mixture of solemn duty and quiet triumph. She was no longer just a minister or a party stalwart. She was the 102nd Prime Minister of Japan. For the first time in its long and storied history, the nation would be led by a woman. This was not just a political victory, it was a cultural earthquake, a signal that the currents of change had finally reached the highest echelon of power in a country long defined by its traditional patriarchal structures. Sanae Takaichi's story begins not in the bustling corridors of Tokyo, but in the ancient city of Nara, Japan's first permanent capital. Born into a middle-class family, she was instilled with a strong sense of discipline and a deep appreciation for her country's history and culture. Her early life was not one of political privilege. Her path was forged through academic excellence and a burgeoning curiosity about the world beyond Japan's shores. This curiosity led her to the United States after graduating from Kobe University. She worked as a legislative assistant for a United States congresswoman, an experience that provided her first real glimpse into the mechanics of democratic governance and planted the seeds of a political career. Japanese politics has long been described as a man's world. It is a realm of late-night meetings and smoke-filled rooms of relationships forged over sake and golf, a culture largely inaccessible to women. For Sanae Takaichi, entering this world meant facing a wall of skepticism and ingrained prejudice. In her early years in the Diet, she was often dismissed. Her male colleagues would patronize her, questioning her grasp of complex issues: defense, economics. She was an outsider in almost every sense, a woman, not from a political dynasty, and unafraid to voice strong, sometimes controversial opinions. She quickly learned that to survive, she had to be better prepared than everyone else in the room. She had to know the policy details inside and out, leaving no room for her expertise to be questioned. While her male counterparts could rely on established networks, she had to build her own. Sanae Takaichi's political career is inextricably linked with that of Shinzo Abe, Japan's longest-serving prime minister. She was a key disciple of his political and economic philosophy, becoming one of the most visible and ardent champions of Abenomics. This ambitious three-pronged approach of monetary easing, fiscal stimulus, structural reform, was designed to jolt Japan out of decades of economic stagnation. As Minister for Internal Affairs and Communications, she pushed for reforms in the telecommunications sector and championed policies aimed at boosting regional economies. Her steadfast loyalty and policy alignment with Mr. Abe earned her a place in his inner circle. One of her most significant appointments was as chair of the LDP's Policy Research Council. However, her career has also been marked by controversy. She is a regular visitor to the Yasukuni Shrine, a practice that consistently draws sharp protests from China and South Korea. She has also been a vocal advocate for revising Japan's pacifist constitution, arguing the country needs a more robust military to defend itself. Her first attempts were unsuccessful, but she used each loss as a learning experience. Her 2025 campaign was different. She presented herself as the true inheritor of Shinzo Abe's legacy, a leader with the strength and vision to guide Japan through uncertain times. As Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi has articulated a clear and ambitious vision for Japan rooted in the concept of a stronger, more self-reliant nation. Her policy agenda, which she has dubbed Sanaeonomics, is a direct evolution of the principles of Abenomics, but with a greater emphasis on national economic security and technological sovereignty. Economic security, defense spending, tech innovation. The centerpiece of her economic plan is a bold strategy of aggressive fiscal spending and continued monetary easing aimed at decisively ending deflation. She argues that Japan must invest heavily in critical infrastructure, next-generation digital networks, and resilient supply chains to protect its economy from global shocks and geopolitical pressures. Prime Minister Takaichi is committed to a significant increase in Japan's defense budget, with the long-term goal of reaching 2% of GDP, a benchmark set by NATO allies. A key part of her vision is the revision of Article 9 of the Constitution. She frames this not as an act of aggression, but as a move to normalize Japan's military. Beyond economics and defense, Ms. Takaichi has a keen focus on technological leadership, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and cybersecurity, launching major public-private partnerships and protecting Japan's intellectual property. The news of Sanae Takaichi's victory landed like a thunderclap across Japan. It was quickly dubbed the Takaichi shock by the media. Within the country, reactions were sharply divided. They split along ideological and generational lines. For her supporters, it was a moment of profound triumph. The conservative base of the LDP rallied behind her. They saw her as a strong, decisive leader. On social media, hashtags like Strong Japan and Takaichi Prime Minister trended for days. However, liberals felt deep anxiety. Many younger Japanese reacted with alarm. They pointed to her controversial visits to the Yasukuni Shrine and her hardline historical views. Feminist groups expressed a complex mix of emotions, celebrating the milestone yet concerned by her conservative social policies. The international reaction was equally varied and cautious. In Washington, the response was officially welcoming, yet watchful. European leaders congratulated her, but took a wait-and-see approach. The sharpest reactions came from Beijing and Seoul, warning of heightened tensions. The dawn of the Takaichi era marks a definitive turning point for Japan. Her very presence in the Kantei is a powerful disruption of the status quo. Regardless of political views, a woman leading the government has altered the nation's perception of power. Girls and young women across Japan, Hokkaido, Okinawa, see her ascent as profound inspiration. Her leadership will reshape Japan in tangible ways. Focus: economic security. Focus: a more assertive foreign policy. These accelerate trends from Shinzo Abe. Pushing for a stronger military and a more resilient economy shifts Japan from a pacifist trading state toward a more normal global power that can defend its interests. This transformation will create friction. It will test Japanese society, prompting national conversations about identity, history, and Japan's place in the world. Her interactions with world leaders will be watched closely: China and South Korea. In conclusion, her rise is personal determination and a nation at a crossroads. From Nara to the Prime Minister's office, her journey proves resilience and political skill. But she has changed Japan forever. The Takaichi era has begun.